Hello, I'm Adam and this is Go Sioux Coders. Team offsites are a must for Scrum teams. Today, I'm going to share my 5 favorite offsite ideas for your Scrum team. Let's get started. Hoo-yah! Team offsites are a must for team members to get to know each other. It bonds them together, it allows them to work better together, and when times get tough, they're going to know each other outside of work. So it does so much to build a healthy Scrum team. So these need to not only be done when a new team is forming. I like to say do it at the beginning of every new release kickoff. So if your release cycle is like 4 times a year, do it before you start that next cycle. But at a minimum, I'd recommend doing these twice a year, and ideally, I would say 4 times a year. And with all that said, let's get started. Coming in at number 5 is go-kart racing. Now, it might be my competitive spirit, but there is nothing more fun than smack-talking your teammates in a go-kart race. It is a fun, it is a safe environment to be a part of, and the laughs and the smiles will just be endless. There will be some funny stories that come out of that. And to be honest with you, like, the competitive nature is going to come out in everyone on your team. This is a really good exercise for like a smaller team. So, 10 team members or less. So if you're multiple Scrum teams, you probably are going to want to split up. And I do recommend having a place afterwards to go hang out, maybe like for dinner or something, or maybe for lunch, depending on when you do it. But there should be a place to chill out and kind of just be able to share the funny stories that happen while doing go-kart racing. And you want to go to one that isn't like one of the kiddie go-kart racing tracks. You want to go to one that actually will put some speed on some of their karts. And that's my number 5. Another one of my favorite is a board game marathon. And that's why I picked this for my number 4. Some of my favorite memories are of these massive Magic the Gathering battles and the politics that come out of it. And I can tell you stories of people that saved each other and then backstabbed each other. And it is just the most fun experience ever. And I would recommend doing games that everyone on your team can play. So if you're an exceptionally large Scrum team, for example, ideally your Scrum team is 7 to 9 people. But if you're exceptionally large, you're going to probably have to split into 2 groups. So games like Resistance is also like a really fun game. And maybe after you play a couple of the big group games, you split off and allow people to play games like Catan or Dominion, or even a game of Risk, which may take a while. Anyway, I'm a pretty big geek for that kind of stuff, and everybody that I've worked with has pretty much always enjoyed the board game marathons, and that's why I picked that for my number 4. My number 3 is kayaking. There is nothing funnier than having a bunch of computer nerds like myself get in a kayak and be competitive with one another. Especially if you rent tandem kayaks where 2 people need to sit in a kayak together. I love this so much. What you can have happen is you can put up like competitive like trophies or whatnot. So maybe you race to the other side of the bay and back, or maybe you play tag and there's prizes and craziness that comes out of all that. Just make sure everyone's safe, make sure everyone has a life jacket on. But honestly, it's just going to be so much fun for everyone, and you're going to be exhausted at the end of the day. And pictures, you should definitely be taking pictures of that. And that's why that is my number 3. My number 2 is laser tag. Now, I'm not talking about your boring laser tag, which I'm sure we've all been to. I'm talking about this new age laser tag that's starting to pop up all over America. There's a place here that is so phenomenal. It's like a warehouse that's converted into a tiny city, and the guns are very, very realistic. I mean, you've got grenade launchers that look like grenade launchers. You've got AK-47s. You've got a pistol and a sniper gun, and you're not just sitting in there camping. You actually are playing game modes like protect the VIP, defuse the bomb. There are some like free-for-all activities, domination type things, and they actually will shrink the map in a way where they will actually walk around and kill you if they call a certain point and you haven't started moving. So it keeps everyone moving. You will be exhausted. It is so much fun. Honestly, this works best if there's another Scrum team that you can go up against. So it's your team versus their team. And the stories and like it's just gonna be a blast. Make sure to get a big picture at the end of your team together and put that up in like your Slack channel or something. But that really is my number two, and it's been some really fun times. All right, for number one, I'm gonna have to say volunteer work. And what I mean by volunteer work is there are organizations out there like Habitat for Humanity. There's an organization here where I live called Warm that really works to gather volunteers to help people that are in need. And there's nothing more fun and invigorating than going to help someone that needs it as a team, learn a bunch of stuff, learn stuff about the people that you work with. Like there are people on our team that might be amazing carpenters that you just didn't know. And at the end of the day, you leave with like putting down a new floor for someone or a deck for someone. And it feels good, and you know, like as a team, when you leave, that you put your best effort into that. There are so many different volunteer opportunities, though. It doesn't necessarily need to be construction. You could volunteer for an organization that hands out food to people, or like in a soup kitchen. There's just, the ideas are endless. But honestly, like those are some of the best times ever. Be prepared to get dirty. Be prepared to be worn out at the end of the day, and just have fun, and again, take plenty of pictures. And honestly, like, you just are going to feel so good as a team when you come out of that, knowing that you helped someone that needed it. And that's why I picked that as my number one and my absolute favorite team offsite idea. I really hope you like those top 5 ideas, and there are millions of ideas out there, and my list is constantly changing, to be honest with you. But I would love for you to share your favorite team offsite ideas. Now, this is for a group of 7 to 9 people typically, and if I like it enough, I might actually steal it for some of my teams. Anyway, until next time, everyone, keep coding.